Diversity Initiative Module 7, Bryan Beach, IDS 400. Dearborn Heights Police Department, diversifying to better serve. The Dearborn Heights Police Department's mission of the Dearborn Police Department is to protect life and property, preserve the peace, prevent crime, aggressively pursue violators of the law, and enhance the quality of life of the residents of Dearborn Heights. The Dearborn Heights Police Department. History. In 1960, Dearborn Heights was formed from surrounding towns. It was incorporated through the Supreme Court. Population is diverse due to the incorporation in 1960. And the Act of '78 established a commission for fire and police services. The commission handles hiring, promotions, firings, and policies for each department. Department breakdown. You have an administrative bureau, you have patrol division, and an investigative bureau. The administrative bureau makes up 10% of the department, while patrol makes up the majority at 60%. Investigative follows closely behind at 30%. The department consists of 74 sworn officers, which are full-time 40 hours a work week. 21 part-time officers used as gap fillers and auxiliaries, as well as 17 civilian employees. The function of the Dearborn Police Department is to provide 24-hour, 7-day-a-week coverage to the residents and the surrounding community, which entails preventing crime, accident investigations, criminal investigations, and so forth. DHP is also responsible for community involvement interactions within schools, juvenile incidences, and motor vehicle accidents as well. Aside from patrol functions, officers utilize motorcycles and mountain bikes, making them more accessible to the public. In addition to their function, DHP, as of 2012, had a national crime rate score of 241.6, making it lower than the national average of 298.9. Undoubtedly, this is a reflection of their active and effective patrol tactics. The people of Dearborn Heights whom they serve. Again, Dearborn Heights has a current population of 57,774 as of the census in 2010. Dearborn Heights encompasses 11.75 square miles. Demographics are male, 48.4%, and females 51.6%. The median age is 39, and the population that's below poverty is 6.1%. The initiative is to diversify, which encompasses looking at female officers and also bringing them on. Women in policing. First known policewoman was Mary Owens in 1893. She was hired by the Chicago PD as a death benefit to her husband, almost like a survivor's benefits, if you will. So they brought her on, not necessarily as a police officer, but more as a social role. In 1905, Lola Baldwin, Portland, Oregon, versus Alice Wells, 1910 LAPD. There's a dispute here over who was the first actual female patrolman. In 1905, Lola Baldwin was hired, but her role was not actually law enforcement per se. It was more of a social interaction. She was hired by the police department, but never actually went on patrol. Same thing with Alice Wells. In 1910, she was more of a social interaction as well with regards to her role. 1915, the International Association of Police Women was created. And in 1968, the first woman police officer was on patrol in the city of Indianapolis, Betty Blankenship and Elizabeth Koffel. And in 1985, the first female chief of police, Penny Harrington of Portland, Oregon. So little is known about the strategic plan of the Dearborn Heights Police Department with regards to diversification within the organization. That information is tightly held. However, what we do know is that in the profession as a whole, women are lumbering behind males. Policing is traditionally a male profession due to a lot of stigmas and perceptions attached. So on average, statistically, we know that women only make up 13% of this profession. So an approach to the diversification that we're going to do is understanding the differences. While males and females have notable physical differences, the first approach to this initiative is we're going to address the differences between males and females and expound upon these strengths. We're going to use 3 cognitive lenses here. We're going to use a biological lens, which we're going to address physical differences. Sociological, we're going to address societal perceptions. And we're going to look at geography, the surrounding demographics to include the internal demographics. So under the biology lens, we're going to look at 2 things. We're going to look at brain anatomical differences, and we're going to look at muscularity differences here. So inside the brain, males typically have a 10% larger brain. They're largely left brain dominant, and they have trouble identifying emotional cues. Largely inferior pituitary lobal controls, which affect numerical brain functions, meaning males are better at math. And also male brains tend to have a fight or flight syndrome attached to it. Females are evenly balanced in the brain versus their males who are left dominant, which enables them to use slightly more intuitive and better communication skills. With that, better communication skills and emotional intelligence means that they're more group-oriented and they're apt to seek solutions by talking through issues. Women tend to, as males look at a fight or flight syndrome, women tend to look at it as a tend or befriend syndrome. So it's a completely different thought process there. And also women are largely deep limbic system, which gives them an inherent ability to connect with others. So muscularity differences here. Males traditionally are broader. Muscle is distributed more up in the top region, so chest, hence the broader category. Males have approximately 33% more muscle mass, but having more muscle mass also means that they're less flexible than females. Females have, by body design, they have less mass, better coordination and flexibility, and they're almost matched in strength with their lower body. So women are capable of developing lower body strength just as much as males are. Under sociological lenses, we're going to look at perceptions of male versus female occupations and myths of required skill sets. So under perceptions, we look at family responsibilities. This is one that's tied to the profession. So being a male-dominated profession and considered to be physical, if you will, women have to deal with the fact that they're perceived as mothers, wives, daughters. They're fragile according to society here. Internal acceptance from male officers, again, males within the profession see females coming on board, and maybe these females are getting placed into roles with a lot of community relations or detective functions because they use that part of their brain. Males perceive this as an adaptation to them not being so physically adapt to the road. So that's a perception that they have to deal with. Myths, women officers are faced with more situations in which they must use a gun. This is false. Use of force is treated on all different levels. Officers, both male and female, undergo extensive training which dictates when they can and can't use firearms. So that's a false myth attached to women. Women officers face sexual harassment. Males can face sexual harassment just as much as females. And women are not thick-skinned enough to work in this profession. That is not true either. That is completely a myth. Under geography lenses, we're going to look at the surrounding population and demographics, and we're going to look at the internal demographics here. So again, surrounding population breakdowns. Dearborn Heights has a population of 57,774 people. It's predominantly a white society, 52,000. Blacks make up 1,200 approximately. Asians make up about 1,300. And multis, these are your all-encompassing Asian groups. Those make up an additional 1,400. Again, males and females are balanced pretty evenly, but females are more present in the society. Hence the need for the initiative to hire females is if your population is more female than male, you should have a representation within the department. internal demographics. Little is known here, again, about the breakdown of the department as far as males, females, and different ethnic groups. But what we do know is that there are 74 full-time officers. That includes your administrative roles, your higher ranking officers, and also down to your patrolmen. 21 part-timers and 17 civilians. Again, the missing piece is what we're going to be looking at here with regards to females. Under the interdisciplinary lens, we're going to be looking at the initiative through both the geographical and biological lenses simultaneously. We can see that while males have physical attributes that are apparent given the current working environment, the ability to back up and the surrounding population, one can see that the addition of females would greatly improve upon the services provided here. It is critical that the Dearborn Heights Police Department foster an environment that is accepting of all persons regardless of race and gender, expounding upon its unique team-oriented environment. Already in place, supervisors and officers alike impact this initiative. So a clear initiative is upon us. The need for diversity is clear. And while history has shown that hiring and utilizing male officers with varying backgrounds has proven beneficial within the local community, the need for females is equally clear. So the two different ways we're going to approach this initiative is we're going to look at a top-down approach in which the diversity initiative starts with the police commission and works its way down to the lowest level. So previously I talked about the police commission being formed. They're kind of the ultimate end-all, be-all, if you will, to the police organization. They create policies, they're responsible for hiring, they're responsible for firing, suspensions, and so forth. So if we can start with the top and get a clear initiative established with the top, that's going to impact your hiring and it's going to impact your retention goals. Also, it'll impact policies. So the commission will be made aware of the need for female officers to assist in policing functions, and understanding this will implement policies for the organization. Once the organizational policies have been completed and disseminated, supervisors at every level will enforce fair treatment and equitable working environment for females. Since we covered the top approach, we're going to look at a bottom-up approach. Under the bottom-up approach, newly hired male and female officers will undergo training geared towards acceptance and education about the counterpart's strengths and weaknesses. So we're going to look to explain that at the very earliest stages of membership to the department. Once a newly hired officer has undergone the training, the momentum will shift to junior officers. So we'll cover those that have been hired recently that maybe have 1 to 4 years on, and then we're going to look to move on to the supervisory level. Goals. So the goals of the initiative are pretty clear and simple. We're going to look to attract females to the profession through public awareness. We are going to use organizational alignment with the need to diversify to improve our public image. So again, the population has over 50% female. If we're not representing that demographic here, we're not doing it due justice here. Target population for females is we're going to look at entry-level officers, 21 to 30, and also we're going to look to retain those that we may have already. We're going to build upon concepts and opinions for the newly hired officers. As with anything, there are always going to be obstacles. So the obstacles we see coming for this initiative are similar to challenges. The most obvious obstacles will be combating the stigma attached to newly hired female officers with regards to their hiring being based on quota and not merit. Obstacles bring about challenges. So our challenges for this initiative are the initiative to hire and retain females as police officers will face several challenges here. First, it's going to be attracting females to participate in the hiring process. Traditionally, a lot of females don't try out for this process because they automatically assume that it's a male-dominated profession. They're not going to stand a chance under these conditions. We're going to reverse the stigma regarding female officers and their abilities. We're going to have to combat harassment, and we're also going to look at adequate facilities and equipment for new female officers. Reporting and communications process. So with any type of initiative that has challenges and obstacles, we need a way to implement a reporting procedure for those that may feel that the initiative is not being given the opportunity to succeed. Under this initiative, a single point of reporting, an officiator if you will be established by the Commission to ensure reporting of harassment, equality issues, and lack of integration exists on the male officers and documented and addressed. So what this is it's a single point of reference that anyone, male or female, can report instances of harassment, failure to adapt to the new initiative, and they can do that with a type of confidentiality attached to it. It's an anonymous reporting, and the incidences will be documented and action will be taken. So putting it all together, the resources used in developing this initiative provide hardline factual information that females can and do perform within the profession of police work. That being said, from a biological, sociological, and geographical perspective, further outline areas in which we can focus and we will be diverse towards a better, more robust, and highly supportive environment in which females can flourish. That is the initiative.